Good morning, it's May 10th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Today there are a few issues that are worth talking about. The first will be Donald Trump and his latest legal problem. Second will be the national debt talks that are ongoing. And finally, we should look at the charges being filed against Republican Congressman George Santos. Well, in New York this week, a jury found Donald Trump guilty of battery and defamation. They also awarded damages to the plaintiff, E. Jean Carroll. Carroll, who is now 79 years old, claimed that Trump raped her at a Bergdorf Goodman department store, which is across the street from the Trump Tower, where Trump resided. And according to Ms. Carroll, this occurred sometime in 1996, and it was after a chance meeting where Trump told her he was shopping for a gift for a girl and asked for advice. Sometime during that time, while they were both shopping, she alleged that Trump pushed her into a dressing room and raped her. Trump and his legal team denied all of this and claimed that he did not know the woman at all. But I suspect that Trump made a mistake by not appearing in the courtroom and allowing his legal team to rebut the charges without his presence. I don't think that was a smart strategy. In the courtroom, there were multiple witnesses who supported the plaintiff with accounts of their own of Trump making sexual advances toward them. The judge even allowed the famous NBC tape to be played. In the end, the jury rejected the charge of rape, but believed enough of the story to find Trump guilty of both battery and defamation. In other words, they believed something happened to the plaintiff in the dressing room, but could not find enough proof to accept the rape charge. They then awarded $5 million in damages. Ms. Carroll had also asked for an apology from Trump, but I don't think anyone expected that to be forthcoming. Trump, of course, denounced the verdict, claimed it was a witch hunt, and that Ms. Carroll was using the suit to try and pump up sales of her book and to harm him politically. Now, for most politicians, this would spell the end of any campaign, but Donald Trump is not just any politician. He has a following that is cult-like, and they will excuse any type of behavior by him. Trump has been accused of sexual advances by other women, and he's managed to survive and stay on the ballot. I keep hoping that eventually his devoted followers will reach a point where even they say, enough is enough. Back in Washington, D.C., the talks between President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on raising the national debt continue. The national debt now stands at over $31 trillion, and according to the Treasury Department, June 1st is the day that the United States will not be able to meet its payments and could be in default. Biden has refused to negotiate any spending cuts and continues to insist that Congress simply raise the debt limit before he will consider anything else. Basically, he's saying, trust me. But Republicans need only look at Joe Manchin and the promises made to him if he would just vote for the Inflation Reduction Act. Manchin voted yes and got nothing in return. Biden has forgotten that as vice president, he sat in on similar discussions and Obama agreed to spending cuts. Biden's memory is failing because he does not recall that, as a senator, he insisted on negotiation for the debt limit on multiple occasions. The White House adopted this no negotiation strategy because they did not believe McCarthy could get his bill through the House. Biden kept telling McCarthy to produce a Republican budget, and when McCarthy produced the budget and got it through the House, they had to realize they had rolled the dice and lost. I think the American public wants negotiations, and they want spending to be reduced. Polling shows that over 50% of Americans do not want to raise the debt limit. I get this, but the unfortunate facts are that it will have to be raised. But what the public needs to do now is demand that spending cuts be enacted. We've not had a surplus since 2001. Bill Clinton gave us a surplus because he had a Republican Congress. Then we have a Congress and president of the same party. We seem to have deficits because there's no check on spending. Bottom line, the debt limit will have to increase and Biden will have to negotiate. Failure by either side on this would bring chaos. Finally, we have the saga of Congressman George Santos. Or is that really his name? There is so much fiction about this guy that we don't know where it starts and where it ends. The Department of Justice has filed charges against him, and they were unsealed today. The charges against the congressman include 7 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 1 count of theft of public funds, and 2 counts of making materially false statements to the House of Representatives. Of course, Mr. Santos has pleaded not guilty. But being honest, this charlatan should not be in Congress. The Republicans probably know this, but with their thin majority, thank you Donald Trump, they are hesitant to take this action necessary. Personally, I think they should toss him out and roll the dice during a special election. Make the case they are the party of ethics, and then point to the other scandals which within the Democratic Party where no action was taken. If you need reminded, then I would point to the famous Vietnam veteran Senator Blumenthal. Ted Kennedy not only kept serving, but was lionized after killing an innocent young girl while he was drunk. Congressman Swalwell slept with a Chinese agent while on the Intelligence Committee, and he's still sitting in Congress. And we cannot forget Gary Studs. You remember him. He was a gay member who engaged in a sexual affair with a young house page. Read that teenager. And he was not ousted. Make that case before the voting public in that district. Make them understand that the Republican values are not being served by Santos, but could be by another Republican in Congress. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, recommend it to your friends and hit the subscribe button.